just guys, have a little confidence in yourself. Don't let your thoughts muck with you. It's just, you should understand there are a bunch of components that makes you to be who you are. And all these components supposed to be your subordinate. None of them supposed to be your master or that you would follow them. Your thoughts are only the ones that you design something, use them to accomplish certain goal and plans. That's your thoughts. But the rest of the thoughts are intrusive thoughts, transient thoughts, pop-up thoughts, thoughts that have nothing to do with you. They're a collective information that have been somehow found their way into your library, into your consciousness, and they lodge there and they pop up without you actually meaning to focus on them. Like you walk in a library with thousands and thousands of books, the library being your consciousness, the books in there being thoughts. Not all these books are your books and physically, personally deposited in this library. Some of them you have, your experiences, what you read, what you experienced, your books that you personally have deposited in this library, your consciousness. But the rest of the books in that big library have been deposited by news and by things you read and by stuff that other people, like in the library, somebody dies and donates all the books that they have. So it's not the books that you brought in. They find their ways into the library, deposited by other people, by the things that you go through, experiences that you see others have, or the movies or the videos and this and that, and news that you hear. So they all find their ways into the consciousness and become part of the inventory that could randomly pop up without you actually have any use for it, but they have found their way in there. So you got to understand that just because a book that you walk in a library is open and you notice the book while you pass by that table that the book is open on it, on your way from this part of the library to the other part of the library, you notice that book that is open and you may read a few word of it as you pass by. But that doesn't mean that's a book that you actually chosen to open and sit and reading and it's your book. No. You notice anything that pops up that while you're walking in the library. The same thing. You notice any thought that pops up in your mind, but that doesn't mean it's your thought. That has anything to do with you, that you wanted it to be, that is your choice. No. But instead, you have to understand this is a fragment of your psyche, a subordinate, a part of. In fact, in this case, transient thoughts, intrusive thoughts, they're actually refuse and residues and feces of the rest of the inventory that you by choice have in there. But they have found their way in there too. So you're the one who's responsible to reject them if they pop up. Pay no attention to them if they pop up. Not to treat them as if they are the actually credible thoughts that you decided to use them to design something or use it in a plan to accomplish a task or goal in your life. So you can't give credibility to the thoughts that have got nothing to do with you and they're just the intrusive transit or pop-up thoughts. And then you have your fears. Again, it's a faculty of your psyche. You have to understand fear. Then there's desire and pleasure, the relationship with the two. How to stop desire, what desire is, what are the prerequisites for desire to form, to come to be. Then there is ego. What is the role of ego? None of these are you, but you are the boss of all of them, which you are the only person and in command to refuse, reject, and not pay attention and ignore whatever it is that is not in compliance and alignment of who you are and your lifestyle and how you have been living and what you like, what you don't like, and all these things. Your biology, So don't doubt yourself just because somebody yelled out from the street, "Oh, you're an asshole." Well, so suddenly what? A suggestion has been made. I'm an asshole. It must be, otherwise this suggestion wouldn't have been. It's the same as thought. You're clear on that. If somebody across the street calls you something, You're not supposed to be affected by it. But you are in many cases too, just because people said something. Oh, it must mean something. Well, who are those people? Where did they get their wisdom? Another, garbage in their mind, and they're just, because of their own shortcomings, trying to feel good by trying to put you down. But you get affected by it. A weak mind. You got to have a strong mind, a strong flow of energy forward. Then you will not be accepting or allowing these things to penetrate and affect you. Same thing like thoughts. When thoughts pop up, you're supposed to not be affected by them. So, okay, just like some guy's yelling out something obnoxious. That's it. If the guy yells out 5 million times, what do? You move away. If the guy keeps following you, you eventually call the police or, beat the crap out of the guy because he's being intrusive more than what the law permits, right? The law doesn't even permit, but more than what could be tolerated. But when the thought constantly insists, you think, oh, it must be true because it's thought. Well, no, the same way. It's an outside suggestion, intrusion, like the guy is constantly trying to repeat the same insult. So the same thing, you got to keep not being influenced, even if 1,000,000 times a thought pops up. You simply don't pay attention. Focus on your day. Focus on the agenda. Focus on what it is that you're interested in. Stand your grounds. Protect your biology. Think clear. And don't be influenced by suggestions. If you look at any kind of a movie with mind control or like Star Wars even, Jedi Knights and so on, they could only affect the weak mind. Now, we have these transient intrusive thoughts that pop up. We're supposed to not be the weak part of the psyche to be influenced by their suggestion. We're supposed to be the Jedi, not the pop-up thoughts to influence us. We're supposed to discredit them, defy them, reject them, ignore them, and stay on course on what our biology is, what is good, we are interested in, and what is not we are interested in. We shun away, we ignore. That's how you train yourself and train your mind to not be distracted so easily. Otherwise, there's thousands and thousands of thoughts and obnoxious kinds, depending on what you are, what you like, what you dislike, what your lifestyle is about. It could be insulting and disgusting to you. You're not supposed to be influenced by it. All these thoughts, thousands of them every day, of different kinds are there. But you ignore everything easily until it comes to a girlfriend, sex, sexuality, and so on, because that's how we identify ourselves. And suddenly we're so vulnerable. If a thought comes against what we are, we say, oh, what does that mean? We interpret it when there is no interpretation to be had. It's a thought. Who gives a shit? Move on. Stand your ground. Protect yourself from outside and inward enemies. And thought is the biggest enemy you could ever meet. Thought is the root of all conflicts. It's the root of all divisions and conflicts. Whether from outside people's opinion in form of thought, or from inside your own intrusive, transient, pop-up thoughts. You're supposed to be an expert in that to protect yourself against foreign and domestic enemies. Thoughts, transient, intrusive, and pop-up thoughts, or opinions of other people. If you know that, then you'll understand that who you are is the boss of all these. None of them should ever be given the chance to be your boss or influence you. You're supposed to be judging them, choosing them, and influencing every single of these fragments of your psyche. All right, let's go on to